Hey, everybody. It's that time we talked about last week. Welcome. If you've never seen me before, or you're like, I do know you, but what are you doing online at this time of night on a Wednesday? Is it a Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right? Today's Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Okay. It is Wednesday night, and we're going to start this brand new project for 2024 I've been working on. Welcome. For those of you that are watching for the first time and don't know who the heck I am, that's okay. My name is Rob Irvin. I am the executive producer and host of two podcasts that are out there on the interwebs currently. One is called the Clubhouse Podcast. It is all things sports, entertainment, and pop culture. The other one's called the Cheap Popcast, and that's all about the world of professional wrestling. That will be back on the air a week from tomorrow. Alex Barnhill, my co-host, Don Ford, our fact checker and everyman, will all be back. We're doing some brand new stuff. We're going to combine both shows together again next Thursday night, January the 11th at 8 o'clock Eastern, I think is when we're doing it, if I'm not mistaken. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you follow all that stuff on social media. We're still trying to figure out TikTok. We're old. We're dealing with it. But this particular video, powered by StreamYard, is going to start a series I'll be doing this year in 2024, where if you missed the announcement last week, I will be going through all of the DC animated films. And there's one of the cool things I get to do with StreamYard, shout out to StreamYard, is I can do this. Boom. You can put comments in and I can put you live on the screen, should I choose to do so. That would be my goddaughter. She's out there right now on Facebook, watching this on Facebook Live. We're also on Twitch, and we are also on YouTube for the first time with this particular kind of a format. So this is actually going to be a prequel because I have this box set that has 18 of the Batman animated features on it, and 2 of them come before when the project will officially start. So we're actually going to talk about both of those before we get into the films proper, if you will. Now, we're going to be doing them by order date, or by release date order. So what will happen is at the end of each video, I will give you what we're going to be watching next. And the next one's going to come pretty quickly because I want to get started on the actual thing proper as soon as possible. Now, I've done the research. There are, including animated features that are on the slate for this year, there are a total of 58 of them, not counting the 2 in the prequel. So we're looking at 60 total. My goal is to have them all watched by the end of the year. And that last one that's listed currently is a remake, probably animated, I'm sure all of it, of Watchmen. So we're going to see how that goes. I wasn't a huge fan of Watchmen as a graphic novel. I thought Zack Snyder did a good job with the movie, but they changed too much in the movie as well. So we're going to see how that goes. So let's get started. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping things. Make sure, do me a favor, subscribe to my channels. We're going to see where this goes. There's also especially on my YouTube channel, there's some really great panels I've gotten to moderate in the last couple of years. Everything from Don Bluth to somebody we're going to talk about here in just a little while. And I've got brand new stuff coming very, very soon. Also, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, make sure you join the Cheap Popcast at X Golf in Frisco. It's right off of Preston, just north of the mall. On January 27th, we will be hosting a Royal Rumble watching party. And if you missed that announcement, go back and check those videos on our channels as well. Big things going down. We're very excited to hang out with our friends at X Golf in Frisco. All right, so let's jump right in with our very first DC animated feature discussion. We're going back about a little over 30 years now, if you can believe it. As we talk, as soon as this thing catches up to me, which it will eventually, as we talk about Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Now, this came out really kind of midway through the run of Batman the Animated Series. I see Russ, I see you in there. Good to see you, brother. He's getting ready to play bingo. Win some money, brother. Win a ton of it. I hope you do. So this is one of the 2 prequels that we're going to be doing before we get into this more proper, because I own them. I might as well watch them, right? So let's get into Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And the format that we're going to use is going to be the same format each week. I might throw some stuff in there. You don't know. You can see what Megan has to say. One of her absolute favorites. She had the VHS for this. I used to have it. I know I had it on DVD. This actually released in 1993. I did see this in a theater. Now, you may not know, this was not originally supposed to be a theatrical release. It was originally supposed to go straight to video, straight to television, because Batman the Animated Series. But with the role that they were on, Warner Brothers at the 11th hour decided, hey, this needs to be in theaters. Well, the animation was pretty much done and formatted for television. So it's that square thing and not the rectangle widescreen that would be set for theaters. So they had to go back and redo all of it to make it fit the aspect ratio for the theater. And I'm glad they did. But there's a couple things that we're going to talk about when it comes to Mask of the Phantasm. First of all, let's talk about who's in it. Arguably the Batman, right? Kevin Conroy, God rest his soul, an absolute wonderful human being. I never actually got to interact with him, but I worked a couple of shows that he was at, and watching him interact with the fans was one of my favorite things. Also, Dana Delaney, if you remember her, China Beach. She's been on a lot of stuff. Absolutely amazing actress. She plays Andrea Beaumont in the film. And we're going to kind of talk about where the character kind of comes from, but kind of doesn't at the same time. Also, Efren Zimbalist Jr., who played Alfred all the way through and always crushed it. I was always a big fan. Also, we had Abe Vigoda, who apparently I have more rhymes than if I'm a Beastie Boy. He is in this as well. He playing Salvatore Valestro, the aging gangster who doesn't really cool with what's going down in Gotham with this particular film. Also, we have the great Stacy Keach playing the Phantasm. Now, there might be some minor spoilers in here, so be aware of that. I'm going to do my best to avoid as many spoilers as I can for those of you that have not seen it. So I know it's been like 30 years, but still, Megan says, oh, wow, how about that? Our friend Rhonda went to meet Mr. Conroy, and she held the picture next to him. So technically, she has the picture with him, and that's closer than I've gotten. So talking about Kevin Conroy. Also in this particular opus, Robert Costanzo, as he plays Harvey Bullock, and he plays it a lot in the series. I actually got to work a panel with him and Mike Starr, which you can actually see on my YouTube channel from Dallas Comic Show back a few months ago. Thank you to Mark Walters for allowing me to do that. Had a great time. You haven't lived until you've watched these two guys do dueling Danny Aiellos. And then there's this guy, Mark Hamill plays the Joker. I really think if he sticks with it, I think he's got a real future in this business. He's got a lot of potential. I'll say that. Moving on. So let's talk about now Mask of the Phantasm, the film. Now, for those of you that may not be well versed in the ways of the Bat, this is credited to two other Batman stories kind of melded together with a little bit of a remix involved. Many people compare this to Batman Year One, which we will talk about a little bit further down the line. That comes later on because DC would end up doing an animated version of Batman Year One. And it's fantastic, but we're going to hold off talking about that until we get there. But I also wanted to use the cover of the graphic novel done by Frank Miller because it's about source material. The story itself more fits into the mold of Batman Year Two, which came much, much later than Year One. But there are some the major themes of Batman Year Two really come to play in Mask of the Phantasm. Bruce is early on in his career as Batman. He's dealing with some issues of his past, with, of course, his love life because Bruce Wayne. but he's also still dealing with becoming Batman. And some of the origin is in there as well. Also, there were things lifted from this for some of the Nolan trilogy films also. But the bad guy, known as the Reaper in Batman Year 2, is named the Phantasm here. And the Phantasm basically is doing the things that Batman won't, because Batman does not believe in killing. Although the Year 2 cover might tell you differently, I'm not going to ruin Year 2. I think Year 2 is a fantastic story. If you haven't read it, go check it out. At one point, we were going to get Year 2 as a film, an animated film. Also, Year 1 at one point was going to be a live action film when Darren Aronofsky was going to be directing Batman before Chris Nolan got it. So all of these things working in tandem, I think it really leans more towards Year 2 without fully committing to Year 2, because there are a couple of subplots in the Year 2 graphic novel that are not in this film. I really hope we get a Year 2, because I love that story. I love Year 1 and I'm glad we did it. So maybe down the line, even though Year 1's been a minute since they did it. So Batman / Bruce Wayne has to deal with the sins of his past, if you will, along with being Batman in the present and dealing with Andrea Beaumont, who comes back into his life after a number of years. So you've got the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman, as you always do. Bruce Wayne dealing with maybe it's time that I settle down. I know the love of my life, but there's this other thing called Gotham City I got to protect, and also framing up who he would become. This movie is fantastic. This movie was done, 31 years ago now? I'm still trying to, thank God I don't have to write checks, because then I keep screwing up the year on all my checks. So this amalgam plus a little bit of a remix. Of course, we did tell you that Mark Hamill's in this, so the Joker comes into play at some point. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to talk about that, because there's a really cool way that they work the Joker into the story and how that all plays out. So again, I think this movie is fantastic. The next question becomes, is it anywhere in continuity? The answer is no. There is no form of continuity for this. It's not in continuity with Batman the Animated Series. It's not in continuity with any of the movies. Most of the movies coming up that we will talk about, some of them have a thread through them. Most of them do not. But when they do, I want to be able to link them together, especially when we talk about some of the Justice League animated films. We're not dealing with the live action stuff. Waiting for the reboot on that. They landed the bird. We're going to keep it moving. So no, there is not continuity here. The next question that we'll ask as we go through these, what kind of special features? Because I own all the physical media for these. I'm not a guy that just relies on streaming all the time. If you've listened to our podcast, you know that this is a very big deal for me. I am all about the physical media. When the grid goes down, you're all going to be at my house wanting to watch movies. It's just that simple. Plus, I like special features. And with a lot of the streaming stuff, you can't get things like commentaries, featurettes, behind the scenes. And this particular Blu-ray, very bare bones. It has what they call the theatrical presentation and the television presentation, which, as we talked about at the beginning of this video, you're going to get it in that what they call 4:3, which is that square that's made for television back in the day before we had widescreen TVs, or the theatrical presentation, which is that widescreen that you would see coming down the pike that's used in theaters. Sorry, I needed a drink there. The only other thing that's on this Blu-ray, the one I have in the box set, is the trailer. The trailer is not remastered. It's in its original form, but it still looks great. It's just kind of nice to go back and look at those things. Now, as we get deeper into this, there's going to be a lot of special features to deal with. When it comes to The Dark Knight Returns, there's a whole this particular box set has an entire documentary and a half with The Dark Knight Returns, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But no, special features on this particular Blu-ray, fairly bare bones. So if you wanted to stream it, you're really not missing much. So the last thing we're going to talk about is we're going to rank these as we go. Now, because this is the prequel, this will not be ranked in the official list. That list will start when we get there after the next video. The third video will be start the rankings. So I would still say this movie is worth revisiting. It's just really well done. The Deanie and Tim did just they keep knocking it out of the park every time they would do anything Batman related. So I am very on board with what they did here. We're not doing Sub-Zero because I don't own it, and then that would push the project farther back. We're also not going to be branching off into like the Superman stuff and all that because I own these. So that's where it's my rules. It's my game. So I can do what I want to. But I will highly recommend Batman Mask of the Phantasm. If you haven't checked it out, go watch it. If you have watched it, go back and watch it again. It holds up incredibly well. It's a really good film. Even when it takes that jaunt off the beaten path, where we get into the third act, it still holds together because there's like three different stories and they all come together really well in this. And it's just great to see Batman the Animated Series represented. And I have that Blu-ray set too. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about in these videos, and I'm trying not to take up too much of your time, is what we're going to watch next. I'm probably going to watch this tonight and do the video either tomorrow night or no, it won't be tomorrow night. It'll either be Friday night or Saturday morning. I haven't decided yet because there's one other Blu-ray in this box set that takes place in release before everything else. And we're going to be watching Mystery of the Batwoman. That's the next one up. I'm going to be honest. I've never seen this one. So I'm really excited to see it for the first time. A lot of the ones we're going to be talking about, I have not seen yet. I buy them and then I forget to watch them. So there's some coming later in the year that I'm really stoked to watch. Not going to mention any names, but Soul of the Dragon. Soul of the Demon. Soul of the Dragon, Soul of the Demon, yeah. So Megan wants to know when this one came out. Mystery of the Batwoman. Let me get that. Let me pull that up for you. Typing. 2003 was the release of this one. This is another Kevin Conroy. So we'll be checking. I'm going to probably watch that tonight because it's only like an hour and 20 minutes max. So, and also, by the way, when we're talking about Mask of the Phantasm, the runtime on that is an hour 16. So it's kind of like an extended episode, which at one point it was going to be. So this is the next one we're going to watch. Mystery of the Batwoman is next up. I will put up on my social media all the things so that you'll know what to do and when to do it. You can follow me. Everything is Yes That Rob Irvin, as you see on the screen right there. Powered by StreamYard. See, I got it right the first time. Look at that. So follow me at Yes That Rob Irvin on all your social medias. I've got TikTok, but I'm old and I'm still trying to figure it out. So Megan's asking what Mystery of the Batwoman was rated. It was direct to video, so I don't think it actually has a rating on it. There might be. I mean, it's Batman the Animated Series, so it's at least going to be like Kid 13 or whatever they call that in the TV world. So looking forward to watching that. Keep an eye out. We're going to keep posting these videos. Do me a favor. If you're following me on the social medias, do me a favor. I got no issue if you want to share these videos. You can like it, subscribe, the whole thing, do the things, all the things. I don't know. This is just something fun I wanted to do in 2024. Any feedback is always welcome. By the way, if you're somebody that's hip to kind of these things, I would love for somebody to just make me a quick video intro and outro that I can put bumpers on this, because I'm also trying to figure out how to do the thing where you pull it up on the YouTube and it gives you the thing. I don't even know. People put cool stuff on there. I'm not that talented. So Megan wants to know, why does it show you when she was young? I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. So watch Mystery of the Batwoman. We're going to be talking about it very soon. Can't wait to talk to you guys then. Thank you guys for hanging out, by the way. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Good night, everybody.